There has been a fire reported in the building. Please proceed to the nearest exit and leave the building.
This is just a drill.
That's 98 security. Floor 2 is clear.
Veterans Day, Black Hole, 2010.
Welcome back to another episode of Deciphering My Experience. My name is Eric, and I am here today with a fellow experiencer named M, who will be sharing her story with us here today. How are you doing today, M?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm gonna let everybody know there's a little bit of a back history here with M and I. We had met a ways back now. I would say maybe over a year-ish.
Yeah.
And we were just in common chat rooms for SSP-related conversations, and we would be, crossing paths and messages and became friends, and we're chatting back and forth and started to come to a realization that some of our past memories or dreams or whatever we were trying to figure out were shared. And it was a rather profound moment for myself, and I'm sure Em can say for her side, but I remember that, and it was an amazing thing. Like, wait, what?
Yep.
Wait, what? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it was, I think that was one of the first things I even really wrote in there was the buoy dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, here you are going, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, speaking of the buoy dreams, could you elaborate on that? Your experience, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself, what these people can understand, I guess, about maybe your background and your experience, and then I guess that common link that we share.
I started breaking into it about 2016 is when I had my first pull through the screen, I guess, is the best way to really describe it. It actually started off in what seemed like an abduction, an alien abduction. I was actually on a big metal slab, arms pinned up, legs pinned up, and there were some uncomfortable situations going on. When I woke up, I had bruising, and ever since then, it just spiraled, like it just burst open. I ended up discovering that one of my alters, M, actually was in the breeder program. She was a female in the breeder program, and she was actually kind of claimed by I'm not for certain if he's actually a super soldier or exactly what he does. He's been extraordinarily elusive, but there was Alpha, and that's who had claimed her. And the more we go on, it just, he's a bad guy. But the more I learned, I also had another alter who possibly is a super soldier. I noticed it's usually a team of 6 men. I've started to learn possible names that they could be. I know one for sure is Kyle. It's always black uniforms. There's no insignias, and there's usually a lot of battling and training. But as myself, the buoy dreams was another one that really kind of burst open for me. It would be like a group of people, like sometimes really young, just dropped in the ocean is what it seems like. Half the time when you wake up, it's like you're just bursting out of the water going, what the heck just happened? And pretty much there's really nothing around, but there's a buoy off in the distance, and you just have to swim to it. You have to swim to it. And kids are drowning because it's too far away. And if you drowned, next thing you know, you're just back starting doing it again. And you got to get to this buoy, try to get up on it, but you're getting cut, probably barnacles underneath. It's mossy, it's slimy, and I still haven't quite figured out even what the training purpose is of it. But you got to get up there, and it's kind of like King of the Hill is what it seems like. Keep all the other kids off. And it's a scary experience.
I remember that one vividly. And as you're saying it, I'm there. Yeah, it's a rough spot to be at. It was I can picture that area, the buoy area, in a map in my mind's eye. It's in the lower left-hand quadrant of a bigger challenge zone that a whole bunch of different challenges can occur in. And the buoy area is in the lower left-hand corner, and I just know when I have to go in that area, it's rough.
Very rough. I still don't quite understand it. Like, I'm not sure who's the better kid or what. I don't know.
Understood. Yeah, and it's one of the amazing things, like when people talk about lucid dreams or out-of-body experiences and stuff like that. To me, it's one of the profound experiences that is, again, in defining your own experience, people can't really take that from you. So myself personally, this is one that I can hold near and dear to my heart and be like, listen, I've seen some crazy stuff. It's with great detail that I can be right back there. One of the things that I remember that was the really hard part was the seas being so high that even though this is a massive buoy,
Huge.
the seas were still moving this thing up so high that it would be disappearing in between crests and things like that. And to take all of that in, and like you said, the surface of it, it was just, everything was the worst possible everything could be. Next thing you know, the wave comes and this thing's flying across the ocean at Mach 12 at you, and you miscalculated and flash, you're out, you're dropped in the water again, and it's off in the distance again, try again.
Yeah, and that was one of the biggest things, was it is not connected to anything like a normal buoy would be. It's going along with the waves.
Yeah, it was bad seas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the really interesting things though is, I don't know if you've ever been able to dip and stay under the water, but in the distance for myself, I had noticed like a nuclear submarine sitting and watching, and I don't know if they were watching from there or what the deal is.
I can be honest, I could tell you as you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, I don't know what would have made her think to like go underneath. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have been trying to stay up, I think, as much as possible. So, and again, this is why we all have different perspectives.
Yeah.
I think I was terrified of the buoy smack.
I guess my thing was, like waves, it's, maybe if you just hold your breath, go under, maybe you get under the waves a little better.
The other thing that I'm thinking though too now, technically, as I'm putting my brain there, is I definitely would not have looked under the water because of what would have been under the water, which would have been sharks and kid parts.
And the tentacles. You ever seen the tentacles?
I believe it. Whatever was under the water to me felt almost scarier than the buoy.
Yes, highly agree.
So I think I was trying to not concentrate on under the water at all. And as hard as it was to get on the buoy, that was really my concentration, was I have to get out of this water and on that buoy. The mission was very clear.
I don't know how many times it was snap back to start.
Yeah. So I remember when you had put up about this and I was reading it, and yeah, now I remember more. You had written a post inquiring, has anybody had this? And I was reading it and going, oh my God. That's right. Yep. Man, good times.
Oh yeah, blast.
So
now I don't like water anymore.
Yeah, Totally understood. I have a healthy respect for that aspect of Mother Nature. But now, so now that's when you and I started seeing that we had some dots to connect. But
Mhm.
now for you, in your experience and your path, like at that point, how long would you say that you were having ideas that your experience might have differed from those around you?
Well, I'm not sure. It was probably about 2018, early 2019 when I started to really realize that something was different. I had actually came out in a different group previously, and the moderator actually messaged me going, "Have you ever thought or had any information on the SSP?" I didn't even know what that meant. And she goes, "I really think your experience might be this. Look into it, check it out." And I did, and I'm like, the more I read into it, I'm like, oh my goodness, this might be it. And
Mhm.
that was actually rather scary because it's one of those things where you just wish they were unusual dreams, but the how vivid the dreams are that you can like I remember some faces are blurred out, some faces you can actually see. um it was like I can remember different buildings straight to the touch how they felt, and it didn't seem like a dream.
Mhm. I always think of the movie Forrest Gump when he says, it's funny the things that you remember. And it's really true. And I think this is where we need to start paying attention to people's experiences as testimonies. I mean, in a court of law, it only takes 3 people's testimony to convict another person. So we certainly have enough people stepping forwards with SSP testimonies. Now, granted, it's from each person's perspective, but at some point, we have to calculate it all up to some level of value. And this is kind of why I'm trying to connect with folks like you and other folks. Um, no matter how different everybody's stories are, I believe they all have a value. That it's basically we're writing the book for SSP, and each person like gets to put their page in. So I like that more and more folks are making these connections.
I agree.
I was just checking my questions here, and it says times of change. It's very apropos because I think we're in times of change. Um, but were there anything that you can recall that you would say, well, geez, how would I put that? No, let me put it this way. Are there things that you might say, like even prior to having SSP considerations, like looking in hindsight now, things that you can look back and say were kind of always SSP like in your life?
um the strange thing was just a couple of unusual real experiences, but um I had 2 experiences as a child that I thought were really unusual that I even asked my mother about, and
Hmm.
um I thought it was real. It was so real.
Hmm.
Uh, she had taken me to the doctor, and it was just our normal doctor,
Hmm.
Dr. Breling. Um, and he ended up did this weird random testing. I'm not sure what it was about, but I realized that it wasn't my mother that was with me. It was actually a different woman. She was a thin woman, khaki dress, white blouse tucked in, blonde hair. I had no idea who she really was. And then during a lot of my experiences, there's things that go on with my stomach. I do not like people touching my stomach from whatever these experiences are. Um, and it scared me to the point that I actually ran out there in my underwear as a child. And I remember running down the streets, and then there was a blackout, and next thing you know, I was on the outside of town being picked up again.
Hmm.
And it was so real that I even asked my mother about it a few years ago,
Hmm.
and she's like, I have no idea what you're even talking about.
Huh. Interesting.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, the other one I was in a speech class, but I don't remember anybody else being in there. It was very unusual, and even in both of these experiences, Dr. Breeling had moved recently after, and then the speech teacher had moved recently after.
Huh. And what grade do you think this speech thing occurred in?
Kindergarten,
Okay.
first grade, really
Okay.
young. I don't remember really anything about it
Mm-hmm.
at all,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm not sure.
That's the rough part about
There's
this
a
too.
lot of foggy moments.
A lot of these programs, we're now finding out we're targeting children, and I mean it's really convenient for a program to be able to do that, because what are the odds of you remembering what happened? Myself personally, the stuff that happened to me, I mean, I have memories of what happened, but because I was lied to at the time that I was a child, I was basically given misinformation. So it's taken me many years to turn around a lie and figure out what was actually going on. You know, it's very easy for these programs to manipulate the perspective of a child into thinking something else is occurring. It's like magic in a way. They're just basically doing magic. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a sidestep. It's, you know, the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I find that interesting because there's so many reports of people that are, I guess, as children at the very least, being misdirected away from the rest of the children for things that are questionable. And it's hard pressed to, as far as I'm concerned, it's really bold for us to then turn to that victim, child, 40 some odd years later, and go, tell us everything that's the truth, or you don't know what you're talking about. And be like, dude, I was in kindergarten.
Exactly.
You know? I can't really tell you exactly why I was in the janitor's closet that day. I don't really quite recall. I just know I wasn't supposed to be there, right?
Yeah.
Can we agree on that part first? Yeah, stuff like that. But this is, you know, it's the way of the world. And if you don't have a link to, you know, a photo that shows that you were in the janitor's closet in second grade when you weren't supposed to be, then they're like, what do you know?
Yep.
But geez. Now, how about now that you are putting things together and making connections, like what do you think about your experiences in hindsight?
Very unusual. I think now that everything, since it's actually breaking open, is really rather life-changing, because the only places I've really ever talked were the groups, and I've never been able to tell my husband about it. He, like, any little thing that I could kind of squeeze in there, just I get the look of, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it makes it difficult. I've been dealing a lot with it on my own, and just trying to not let it run my life either. Try to be able to live a normal life, but there's still just so much stuff going on. Like, you don't really, you don't sleep very well, because sometimes there's nights where it's just constantly going, and you just wake up tired even though you slept all night.
Yeah, sleep's a relative term. I like Michael, that I've been doing interviews with lately. He refers to it as his night job.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's really funny. He's just so nonchalant. He's like, yeah, so the other night I was at my night job, and yeah, it's very true. I can totally empathize with that. Have you found anything in that whole energy healer department at all yet that we were discussing?
Still working on it, trying
Okay.
to find somebody that's going to be up to the expectations, because I'm still generally new about it. I'm still looking up a lot of information just to make sure that I get things proper, because it would be nice to get everything settled down and, you know,
I'm just looking forward to you doing that. I think it'll be great. I'm really happy that you're reaching out and doing this because I agree. It's frustrating to not have somebody to talk to. And I think everybody needs to start to experience having peers, that we can come out of the shadows and have conversations, and people don't need to be afraid of having their story known front to back, completely rigid, understood, and able to be presented, because it's not that simple. You know,
Mhm.
I know the other way is also hard, to come out and not have all of the answers, because I'm doing that. I don't have all of the answers.
I
Um,
don't either.
but I really think what we need to do is communicate more. I mean, as human beings on every level, in any group, in any category, connect with your peers. So here, as SSP folk, 4D vets, whatever you want to call it, let's not bicker over terms. Let's just say people who have had abnormal experiences, let's unite. Let's talk about things and be open-minded and say like, hey, you know, what is it that you said you saw again? Because I saw something once and it was like this. And I wonder about the things that are the same. You know, I think it's a waste of time for us to argue about the differences. We're always going to find differences in everybody's story. We're different. But I feel like it's a waste of time to concentrate on the differences.
I agree.
You know, I mean, it'd be so much more fun to just talk about the same things. You know,
Yeah.
like
It'd make it easier too if everything was the same, but it's not.
yeah, no, it's more fun to discuss that buoy dream and get to the connections of things that are the same and understand there's a connection being had, than instead of getting into the details that we can't agree on and then go, well, then obviously that means that it's nothing remotely even possibly similar.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, the submarine thing, it kind of intrigues me. I mean, absolutely. I don't have a recollection of it. That would make it a lot cooler for me, but it kind of makes me mad when you say that now though. I'm
Now
like,
you want to see it.
no, now I'm like, damn it, there was a damn, I knew it, there's a damn submarine there to boot. But geez, that's funny. How's your night job been as of late?
It's been ramping up again.
Huh?
Gosh. You know, it's 1 minute I'm going about doing her work, and then next thing you know, I'm in a training exercise or I'm in the middle of a battle, and you know, I'm shouting out, Kyle, where are you at? And
Hmm.
that's my six, I
Hmm.
guess. The six men, they each have kind of like a buddy pair,
Hmm.
and that's him. And every once in a while, I hear, oh, I'm over here. Oh, hi, you know. But it's some of this stuff's been absolutely terrifying. You know, you wake up in the middle, you're walking down a corridor, and the only thing you have in your hands is a freaking gun, and you're like, where the heck did I even come from? And next thing you know, there's something at you and you gotta shoot. And
Hmm. And
it makes it so
unfortunately,
much more scary because you don't just walk into it like, all right, we're gonna go and do this now. You literally just wake up in the middle of it.
mhm. And I don't know about your experience, but technically my experience in the night job zone like that, guns aren't really that valuable.
No, no,
So
they're
it's
not.
almost like you get a gun and you're like, really? This is all I get?
Yep.
Yay, a pistol. No,
at
that's funny.
least I get a little bigger gun, you know. It's got
Mhm.
a little bit of a extent to it, but a lot of the times they're just like, see ya.
Well, that's good that it's not been that ruthless, I guess. Maybe you get a reprieve for the holiday season.
Oh, I hope so.
Excellent. Let's see. What are your thoughts with what you do know of the SSP and your experience? And I say bringing this, I guess, maybe around contemporarily. Do you see or have fears or concerns about modern day mind control being applied to people?
I truthfully believe that it is still happening. I have a feeling that it's happening on a worldwide basis. They have the abilities to do it. Why would they not be doing it is the biggest issue. You have so many people that are completely unaware, and it can happen to you in a matter of seconds and you wouldn't even know it happened. I think, the technology's been there for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Why not use it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way that, I feel like if we do a simple check on history, we'll find that if you look at when the technology was actually available, not when the public knew it was available, but when the technology became viable, marketable, and available to the powers that have the money, I think what we always see is that they exercise the ability to use it as soon
They
as it's
do.
available.
Yep, they got to test it out to see how it actually works. And
Mhm.
if they fail something, oh well, they just keep working on it.
Mhm.
The civilians, it just
Mhm.
were easy targets.
We're fodder. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's research. But so they know it's going to be research. So like in a way, it's like, hey, we're going to make a laser beam. Oh, well, we're going to get research and development money. Well, who are we going to research and development on? The same people we get the money from.
Yep.
And then yeah.
Yeah, and that's something they've been doing for so many years. And I think that's a lot of what, like, COVID-19 and everything.
Mhm.
Biological weapon, 100%, it has to be. But we've been doing
Mhm.
so much of this stuff previously, and we actually, with the FBI records and everything, everything's starting to break out that, yes, we have been testing on people for many years that are completely unaware. We haven't signed up for it, but we're doing it anyway.
Are you trying to tell me that you don't believe everything the news tells you?
No, not at all.
What an amazing thing. Yeah. Is it possible the news has been weaponized and people are hearing that term right now and scratching their head for the first time and going, what does he mean that the news can be weaponized?
Absolutely. It is fear mongering. It's so rare to even see such a nice news article in a newspaper or on the news at all. It's
Mhm.
all programmed to scare you, to keep you content and
Mhm.
complicit, and that's exactly how they want you. It makes you easier to control.
It's going to be really cool in about 10 or 12 years when people find out that right now the technology in their phones is already interacting with them when they read a story and checking their pulse rate and recording it and telling someone.
Yep. And they already had that breakthrough with Edward Snowden
Mhm.
saying that the NSA has been, basically watching us and spying on us this entire time. You think that they really actually stopped because somebody had broken out about it? Absolutely not.
No, your phone knows when you're in proximity. Your phone knows when you're about to pick it up. It knows when you're about to put it down. It tries to entice you to pick it up more. It tries to
Yep.
prevent you from putting it down. People will find out that all of that activity's already been monetized. They didn't realize, and then they'll be wooed in with the idea of getting free money for having a chip in them and getting paid for living. Because
Yep.
what could go wrong with that?
Yeah, just make sure don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you hungry? Oh, sorry, we turned your chip off.
Yep.
You went speaking all uppity things the other day. Yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling that's probably coming down the pipe, with the fact that this election is going so smoothly. I
Oh
mean,
god.
it's such a clear indication of clear skies around the corner by any definition.
Oh yeah.
It just makes me laugh. Like, oh look, everybody's at each other's throats more today than yesterday. What a shocker!
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
going to be scary. I really think it's there's going to be a lot of stuff that goes on still continually. It's just, I think it's going to keep progressing.
Mm-hmm. In your area, have the numbers of people out in public wearing masks gone down, do you think, since the election
No,
started?
it's been constant. You can't get into any building without a mask. Like, to go to work, you are in a mask the whole day, and it's ridiculous.
Wowzers.
Yeah, and it's, you know, even though they were like, you know, COVID's plummeting, it still stayed as strict as possible.
Wow.
They just started opening restaurants. It's been a couple months now, but they were a lot later than most other states.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Huh. Well, I was hoping that the election was going to get counted faster, and that at the very least the nonsense about that was going to disappear. But lo and behold, it's still 2020, so things can't just be that smooth.
No, of course not. 2020 has been such a year.
There's always another hand grenade that could get thrown in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. But I think that we covered a bunch of stuff here for your first chat. So I think it went really well. I really appreciate you coming on. And if you want to discuss anything, or if you have any questions, you just let me know. I want to always be an open avenue, and make sure that people have a place to share their stories. I know we're on a different time zone now, and we're way off the mark for trying to be able to get. But I know you said your schedule had switched up a bit, so hopefully we can do this more often. I'm in conversations. I might be doing some sort of a radio show with some regularity as well coming up. So there should be more opportunities for folks to connect and do some maybe roundtable thing stuff. I was thinking about having more people that are like in your position, my position, where we're just getting this stuff together and bouncing ideas off, just to get in some sort of a roundtable and chew the fat, so to say.
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be exciting.
Cool, excellent. Maybe we'll have a conversation with Michael involved or something too. He's new to talking as well, but he's enjoying it as well. So hopefully,
Good.
I hope you had fun today as well.
I did. A lot of fun.
Cool, excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming, and I will I'll drop the record momentarily. But if everybody liked this, if you could click the like button and share it and subscribe it and all that fun stuff, I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Em. Thanks everybody for coming. Have a great afternoon. Bye.